Good to be back. I have so much to bring you today, so I'm just going to get straight into it. I'm just letting you know the date is the 11th, I believe, of July today. These visions and words I'm bringing are from April, mid-April. It has taken me this long to gain understanding about this. I have put much prayer into it and tried several times to do a video, but each time I just found it too difficult. But the Lord has pressed me on to do it. So here we go, and there may not be full understanding yet on this, but I am to bring it to you. So, straight into it. On the 14th of April 2021, I saw a vision of hot, boiling oil, and I know this is a warning from the Lord that things are heating up. The next thing I saw was a word being spelled in front of my eyes, and it was initially B-A-B-Y. And I felt there was more to come, but then the vision ended. So the next night I prayed to the Lord and I said, Lord, can you give me confirmation? Was the word baby or was it Babylon? Because I felt in my heart it was Babylon. So he gave me a miraculous confirmation of the fact that it was Babylon. And just quickly explaining this to you, just to save time rather than showing you pictures, I saw a nighttime vision of 3 stars in the sky. Just 3 stars. And then I heard these words, very short notice. So I then went online and looked up 3 stars and Babylon. And the most amazing thing I found was in Wikipedia. It explains that the ancient Babylonians started star catalogues, which was similar to the zodiac, and other nations have since changed these and altered them, but they started these texts called the 3-star texts, and it was ancient Babylon that started these catalogues. So isn't that incredible? The Lord showed me that just so that I would have confirmation of the word being Babylon. But I want you to remember particularly that those other words that the Lord gave me about Babylon. Very short notice. Is the Lord telling us that the fall of Mystery Babylon is going to happen suddenly, that we will not have much notice? But just before I finish on this part of the subject, I want to just read some scriptures very quickly from Acts 7 about Babylon and the stars. I was quite blown away when I found this. So Acts 7 starting at verse 42. So God gave them over to worship the stars of heaven, and as it is written in the book of the prophets, people of Israel, it was not to me that you slaughtered and sacrificed animals for 40 years in the desert. It was the tent of the god Molech that you carried, and the image of Rephan, your star god. They were idols that you had made to worship, and so I will send you into exile beyond Babylon. And brothers and sisters, I just looked up Molech, the god Molech in Babylon, and as you see, I came up with this Babylonian cylinder seal representing the sacrifice of a child, and it also speaks of Molech in that same context. So brothers and sisters are wondering if this god of Molech was originating in Babylon. And this is just the seal that they were talking about on that cylinder. And this brings me to another part of these dreams and visions on that day, brothers and sisters, that amaze me. Because the next day, the Lord also showed me, and I believe all these days tie in together, he showed me a white car coming forward. And this car was a little bit like this, but on the fender on the driver's side there was an emblem, and in myself I thought it looked a bit like the Alfa Romeo emblem. So brothers and sisters, I'll show you what I found out about that. These are the Alfa Romeo emblems, and oh my goodness, will you have a look and see what they are? As you can see, there is a cross, and on the other side there is a division, and there is a serpent, and in the serpent's mouth there is a child. Isn't that incredible? I still don't fully understand this. I really don't. But it's just all part of these visions and words that the Lord gave me. I found this online, brothers and sisters, and I'm just going to read a very quick portion of it. According to some authorities, this later device originally represented the biblical serpent swallowing a child against a light blue background as adopted by the Milanese Crusaders for their heraldic banner. In any case, after vanquishing a Sacrian knight, they boasted eating Christians. The adder that the Milanese displays for his coat of arms. Pretty awful, isn't it? Now, I have to say, however, brothers and sisters, on that particular night, when I asked the Lord, was it an Alpha Romeo symbol, the Lord gave me this word, Austin. Now, he said it was an Austin. And brothers and sisters, I believe that he wanted me to look up the word Austin and see what it means. And it means great and magnificent. And I prayed about this the other day, again, just a couple of days ago, and I said, Lord, what was that white car? Why was it in the vision? And the Lord told me this. The Lord told me that the white car represented him coming from a hospital. Coming from a hospital. And the word Austin means great and magnificent. It's interesting that the Lord let me go down the path of thinking it was an Alpha Romeo and looking up that symbol though, because I believe all these visions and words are tying in with Mystery Babylon, with the saving of the bride of Christ, and you will understand more as I go on. Now everyone, I'm moving on to the next night, which I believe is to follow on from what I've just been telling you. And the first thing I heard on the 15th was that, the first thing I saw actually was a Moses basket. And this Moses basket had a blanket in it. And it reminded me of the story of the saving of the baby Moses, and how Moses was found floating down the river by the princess of the royal family of that time, because the Israelite babies were being put out of their houses and left to die. And so we all know that Moses' sister Miriam put baby Moses in the basket and put him to drift down the river, hoping that the Lord would save him, somebody would find him. And we know that he grew up in the house of the royal family. Just prior to that vision of the Moses basket, the Lord showed me a symbol which I know represents the children of God, and how they are needing to be saved from the hunters. And so it just all worked in with this Moses basket. I won't explain this in detail because it just will make this video too long. But he showed me a vision of the hunted being kept safe from the hunters. And then he showed me the Moses basket. And my apologies, I'm just flicking through my notes, everyone, and something else I should have shared from the day before was that the Lord showed me a pregnant woman. Now that, of course, is what I should have shared first, because the pregnant woman of Revelation has her baby, and the Lord has been showing us in these visions that the Lord is going to save the baby, and the baby represents the church, the followers of Christ. And so let's go to Revelations 12. Okay, everyone, we'll read just to verse 6. This is about the woman and the dragon, And here we go. We also, just thinking about that, the woman and the dragon made me think of the Alpha Romeo symbol. And yeah, this is all about the child being taken by the serpent. So here we go. Then a great and mysterious sight appeared in the sky. There was a woman whose dress was whose dress was the sun, and who had the moon under her feet and the crown of 12 stars on her head. She was soon to give birth, and the pains and suffering of childbirth made her cry out. Another mysterious sight appeared in the sky. There was a huge red dragon with 7 heads and 10 horns, and a crown on each of his heads. With his tail he dragged a third of the stars out of the sky and threw them down on the earth. He stood in front of the woman in order to eat her child as soon as it was born. Then she gave birth to a son, who will rule over all nations with an iron rod. But the child was snatched away and taken to God and his throne. And the woman fled to the desert, to a place God had prepared for her, where she will be taken care of for 1,260 days. Now, brothers and sisters, isn't it amazing in those verses all the things that have been spoken of in the visions and words that I received in those 2 days? It's quite incredible. And the last thing I want to share with you is the next day, on the 16th of April, I heard only two words and a number, and this is what I was given that night. So this is directly from my diary. On the 16th, 2 days later, I heard 95, bride safe. The bride of Christ is safe. And 95 in Greek means unjustly, undeservedly, without fault, and payment. The Hebrew word is payment, and the Greek is undeservedly, without fault. And doesn't that just say it all? When you think of the story of the last 2 days, where the Lord showed us the lady about to give birth, the Moses basket with the baby, and then now he's telling me the bride is safe. We also saw, he took me down the road of looking at the Alpha Romeo symbol with the serpent with the baby in its mouth. And now he's speaking about the fact that he's going to keep the bride safe. And it is undeserved. We undeservedly are saved because of the sacrifice of Christ on the cross. The payment of sin is death, but we dodged that bullet because of Christ's sacrifice. We are seen without fault because of his forgiveness of our sins.